Yeah, do we acknowledge that Trump probably lost 2020? Have we gotten over that yet, or?
No, I don't want to relitigate that, but I would be happy to show you the results on the graphs where at 3:30 in the morning in 4 states, Biden's votes go straight up. Is that normal?
No, it's not normal.
So what do you think that is?
I think that just like every single person before the election said, there was an unprecedented amount of mail-in voting.
And they were all for Biden.
A lot of them were. Did you not listen?
Yeah, of course they were.
Of course they were.
And they all came right at 3:30 in the morning.
Because Donald Trump spent a year in the lead-up telling his people, don't vote via mail-in ballot.
You are so
Do you remember
gullible,
that
man.
happening? Did you watch Donald Trump for a year say,
so
we don't
gullible.
vote via mail-in ballot, we go to the polls and vote? And you know why he did that? We know why he did that. Because Roger Stone and Manafort, two corrupt lunatics that Donald Trump has both given full pardons to, by the way, are on recorded audio saying Donald Trump is just going to declare himself the victor on the night of the election because he knows he's going to get destroyed when the mail-in ballots start coming.
And did Donald Trump declare himself the victor, or did he leave the White House?
Do what?
Did Donald Trump leave the White House?
After a failed insurrection, yes.
A failed insurrection. Who ran the insurrection?
Donald Trump and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and everybody that broke into the Capitol and delayed the certification of the vote.
Do you really believe that?
Was the vote certification delayed?
What is an insurrection?
Wait, was the vote certification delayed on January 6th?
No, it went through. They certified. Did Trump?
Hold on. I'm so sorry. I don't know who you're answering right now. Was the vote certification delayed? Was Congress called out of session on January 6th?
Yes, I think for a couple hours.
For several hours.
So by the end of the day,
why were they called out of session?
So by the end of the day,
you see how we can't live in reality? You see how this doesn't work? The country doesn't function when you have people
if you want
that
to go
refuse
back and
to
call
accept.
this an insurrection,
The craziest thing is it's all on video. We've seen all of this.
So
None of this is a mystery.
Tell me what an insurrection is. Just define it for me.
I don't have to define it for you. I'm just asking simple questions. On January 6th, there was a certification of the vote. That vote was disrupted by violence. If you want to get into what an insurrection is, you could say that it was a crowd of people that had gathered with a common purpose to use the means of violence or intimidation to disrupt an official federal proceeding, such as the certification of the 2020 vote, the outcome of that election, which is why it would probably qualify as an insurrection.
Okay. How many guns were at this insurrection?
You don't need a gun for an insurrection.
Zero.
Wait, the cops didn't have any guns?
Oh, the cops had a gun. That's right. They killed an innocent person.
So that's what you just said, which is wrong.
That's right. They killed an innocent person.
With a slingshot? What do you mean there were 0 guns at the insurrection?
So the government had the guns. So that's good. So that's what happens when only the government has the guns.
Just to be clear here, none of the people on the grounds of the Capitol had any firearms on them? Not a
single one.
Really? Now, even though the Secret Service said 80% of the people that were at the Ellipse just an hour earlier listening to Trump's speech didn't go through the magnometers because they saw people in the crowd that had firearms they didn't want to go through that all marched to the Capitol building. What, did they drop their gun off at a hotel? Did they give it to a friendly police officer? Did they find a fellow DC BLM guy to hold onto their rifles?
Not a single gun was ever recovered or on record at the January 6th insurrection.
Oh, recovered.
And what type of an insurrection?
How many pipe bombs were found at
That's a great question, actually. Who laid those pipe bombs?
We don't know. We never found out.
We don't know. How convenient. The government can recognize somebody's earlobe in a video and track them down and go arrest them in the middle of a hurricane, by the way. The FBI went into North Carolina in the middle of a hurricane and arrested somebody, but they can't find who laid the pipe bombs. They have no idea. And Kamala Harris doesn't remember where she was that day either, even though one of the bombs was allegedly right outside of her office. She has no idea. She's changing her story. But what type of an insurrection?
No one is changing the story. You guys filmed this.
Kamala has changed the story.
We can watch you guys cheering for it. We can watch you cheering 1776. What was 1776?
I know you hate 1776.
Wait,
I know you hate that.
What was 1776? What was that?
That was the founding of the country.
What was it? What was the event? What would you call that?
When we overthrew royalty and created
against the government,
created a constitutional republic.
Would you call that an insurrection?
No.
1776, the revolutionary. You wouldn't call that an insurrection?
So are you pro-insurrection now? You just babble and stammer so much. I can't figure out where you're at. Tell me what kind of an insurrection, when an emergency notice goes out to go home, everybody goes home and calls it a day. Is that
what kind of an insurrection ends when the leader tells his followers to go home? All of them.
Perfect.
That's kind of how it works. That's how a cult works.
So there was no insurrection. Trump didn't want to overthrow the government. Thank you for admitting that. That wasn't too hard to get out of you.
We can't even follow basic logic.
No,
1776 was an insurrection. It was a revolution.
Now you're deflecting again to 1776.
I'm not deflecting.
So
I'm referring
Trump wanted
specifically.
to insurrect
it's just
the
funny
government,
that you stand outside saying 1776 and go, well, is this really an insurrection? Well, I don't know. What were we cheering for? The Star-Spangled Banner? Was it choir practice?
Actually, they were singing the Star-Spangled Banner, something you'll never hear at a Democrat event.
Mike Pence. When Donald Trump said Mike Pence needs to do the right thing, what was he talking about there? What do you want Pence to do?
So in the history of the United States, there have been multiple times where a party rejects the results of an election, and all 3 times prior to 2020, it was the Democrat Party.
Really? Do you want to walk? Let's walk through those.
Let's
walk through those. Do you want to go through? Do you want to go over when it happened in 1960 in Hawaii, when the only reason why they submitted 2 different slates of electors, which were both authorized by the state legislatures, because there needed to be a recount. You want to use that one, or do you want to go back to Ulysses S. Grant, the one that happened prior to the ECA even being passed? Right? Where the whole reason why that law was passed was because it was such a clusterfuck of an election. Which one do you want to go to? Do you want to go to Gore, where Gore he gave up that election as soon as he lost to the Supreme Court, where there wasn't even a delay in the electors voting in Florida, let alone a January 6th certification? The problem is you don't know anything. You have no facts for any of this. And the strongest facts that you can attest to, you no longer can because you're scared of being sued again for defamation. So obviously, you're just going to sit here and ramble on some crazy shit. That's why you won't admit that 1776 was obviously an insurrection. That's why you were cheering it on outside when you thought you were going to be the winners of that insurrection instead of the losers, and it's why you won't admit now to obvious facts that are right in front of our face.
Every election in the 21st century, the Democrats have denied they lost.
Which vote
They denied that Al Gore lost, they denied that John Kerry lost, and they denied that Hillary Clinton lost. And yes, they went to Congress and tried to stop the certification of the vote.
Really, what did
they do for Gore?
What did they do for Gore?
And they'll likely do the exact same thing. When Trump wins in 2024, they'll likely do the exact same thing, just like Raskin has already said. The Democrats are already plotting not to certify the 2024 election because they know Trump is going to win.
It's fantastic delusion.
It's mainstream news. Anybody can pull it up on their phones right now. Jamie Raskin won't certify election results. Go ahead, plug it in. You got it right there, don't you? Yeah, it's right there.
Do you think Gogeta or Vegito would win in a fight? It's frustrating. I guess the saddest thing is that as much as I can't stand conservatives because I'm a liberal/progressive, at the very least, I felt like we were all kind of in the same boat. We were all kind of like the same country, and we were all presenting at least a unified front to the rest of the world. And as much as conservatives and Democrats might have hated each other, at least we were all Americans at the end of the day.
And when did that change?
When did that change? Well, a big change.
When Donald Trump became president of the United States. And they lost their mind because they couldn't control him, they couldn't bully him, they couldn't get him to bow down to political correctness, and so this is them, stuttering and spamming all over the place like lunatics, trying to get Donald Trump killed, assaulting Trump supporters, and lost their minds. Why do you think Elon Musk left the Democrat Party? Why do you think Tulsi Gabbard left the Democrat Party? Why are so many Democrats like Vernon Jones leaving the Democrat Party? Because this is your Democrat voter right here. Nobody wants to be a part of this psychotic movement anymore.
Psychotic movement when you guys literally try. You guys invaded the Capitol.
Your side believes in trans kids.
Who wants to
Your
trans
side
kids?
wants to pay for trans
Most
surgeries in the
okay
prisons.
with it. You guys
Your
won't even
side
acknowledge
lets in
what
10
you've
million
done.
illegal immigrants. Your side starts wars all over the world. Our side is the party of sanity and the party of common sense. And if you can't see that in this debate, then you're never going to see it.
You're never going to. The party of sanity is the party that doesn't believe in dinosaurs and thinks that we create hurricanes.
What are you talking about?
Do you believe in dinosaurs? You think
what is this dinosaurs?
Wait,
what are you talking about dinosaurs?
Do you think the dinosaurs ever roam the earth?
Dinosaur toys?
Do you think the
Why
dinosaurs,
do you bring this up?
Do you think the dinosaurs ever roam the earth?
Is that a dinosaur on your necklace right there? What is that?
Do you think the dinosaurs roam the earth?
I'm not here to talk about dinosaurs.
It's insanity. It's crazy to me.
You know what? You're a political dinosaur. You're stuck in the past. This is the future right here.
You don't even acknowledge the outcome of the last fucking election. How am I the one stuck in the past? You guys lost in 2022 for the same reason.
You believe everything you're told from the mainstream media. You're right. There's no government corruption. They don't rig elections. It's never happened. The government is great, guys. The government loves you so much, and the mainstream media would never lie to you. They would never do that. Come on.
Let's say that I did believe everything from the mainstream media. The mainstream media is a conglomeration of how many different large corporations with how many different editors, with how many different people involved that have how many levels of accountability, as opposed to the alternative media, a company that you just came from that's now bankrupt because the owner got sued for defamation for telling so many
lies. The most
lies.
anti-establishment free speech organization in the world
the Freedom
is
Speech
InfoWars.
guys. Yes. The Freedom of Speech guys.
That's why we get shut down.
True, exactly.
That's why
it
we're
wasn't
under
for
attack.
telling. Yeah.
Of course. You want to know what happens when you speak truth to power? Everything this guy just said. I've been censored. I've been imprisoned. I've been assaulted. I've had my businesses shut down. This guy's dealt with nothing except cucking to his wife's boyfriend.
I see those 60 days in federal prison weren't kind to you. I'm sorry that you weren't able to do the podcast from prison like you wanted to. I know that's still upsetting you a lot. Only one of us up here has been arrested for trying to be a part of a coup or an insurrection against the United States. Only one of us up here hates this country. And I think it's pretty obvious it's the guy that doesn't even acknowledge the results of the last election. One of the most important foundational pieces of the United States.
So
which
stop
is the
stealing
peaceful,
them. So stop stealing them.
Which is
so stop stealing
no one
them.
is stealing it.
So
no one is
stop
stealing
stealing
it.
them.
Why don't you vote?
So
Show
stop
up at the
stealing
polls
them.
and vote. Vote via the opportunities that are available to you.